Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be showing you guys a beginners friendly tutorial on the basics of Procreate. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to open up your Procreate app. This will take you to your projects page. You can either select to work on one that you've already chosen, or you can add a new one. My preferred size here is the screen size, but it gives you plenty of options to choose from. After selecting the canvas size that you want, you will be able to go ahead and then go in and start creating. So this is where the fun begins. One of the first things that I'm going to show you are these dials here on the left side. Each of these are for something different, and I am going to go ahead and show you what they are. So here is just a random brush that I'm using, and the top dial there that I am going to then move. So I have drawn a regular line here, and now I'm going to toggle that up a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw another line, and as you can see, it becomes bigger. So this is going to be your brush size dial. It is made for, different brush strokes, different brush sizes, so that you are able to adjust the size of whatever brush you're using. So here I'm just going to draw a simple heart and color fill that, which I'll get into a little bit later in the video. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw some squiggle lines just for, numerous colors to be in here. So I can show you what the little square button is there for on the left side where those dials are. So once you've drawn something and you have whatever you like in front of you, but you don't want to go back and necessarily have to search for the same color, you're going to go ahead and click that square, hold your pen down, and drag it over to the color that you want. In this case, it was the orange. And then once you lift up your pen, I'll do it again. So go ahead, choose the color, and then you lift up your pen. It automatically saves that color there up in the top right-hand corner for you to use. So there you go, I just drew a squiggle line, and as you can see, I took my 2 fingers and tapped the screen, and what that does is it's an undo, but a quicker version of it. So you just tap it one time with 2 fingers and it undoes whatever action you just did. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you the opacity dial. So this actually helps a lot when you are drawing things that you might want to be a little bit see-through. And I'm just going to go down in increments of 25 and give you examples of what they all look like when you bring down the opacity. So as you can see, all of them are different shades, and the one farthest to the right is going to be the most see-through. And again, just taking 2 fingers, tapping and undoing. There is also a manual undo button there to the left side under those dials, and those are just, for people who like to keep it a little bit old school and do the undo manually. So now we're going to get into the top dials. So there's going to be your full brush library, which I am actually working on another tutorial going in depth for those brushes. Next is going to be the smudge tool, and this is actually a really fun feature that I just love using, and in this video I don't really use a good example of it, but that's okay. I do show you how it works, and right here I'm just adding some squiggle lines in different colors just to show you how the smudge tool works in blending all of those lines together. So here I am. You can edit the brush size here even for any of the smudge tool or the eraser, and then you just go in and it kind of acts like a blending brush. It just blends and melts everything together, as you can see here. And here I started to realize how bad the squiggle line example was, so I went ahead and I did another example just drawing a heart with different shades, and then I will go ahead and zoom in so that you are able to see how the smudge tool actually works. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the eraser tool, and again, this acts just like a brush. You can edit the size of it if you want, to erase larger amounts of something that you've done in your illustration, or smaller ones like I had shown just beforehand. You can also edit the type of brush that you use for your eraser tool. So let's just say you want to erase something but leave kind of a ridgy edge look. That's what I will show you here. So just going ahead and erasing it a little bit, but then as you could see, there's little ridges. So it's fun. You can get really creative with it. Just depends on what brush you decide to use, and it can actually turn something really cool into something even more amazing. So here is your layers tab. This is something that I will be doing a separate tutorial for. Layers come in huge handy when you are doing illustrations and need to go back in for any editing. It's also great for shadowing and just makes kind of life easier for an artist. And so right now I have written my name in a lighter peachy color. And what I want to do is kind of give it like a background or somewhat of a shadow. And so I will be adding another layer underneath the original layer in a darker color so that it looks like my name has the shadowing. So that's one way of shadowing, and another way that you can add kind of a cute little border to lettering is just going ahead and going around the actual word itself and then color dropping it. So that gives it kind of a fun, cute background. It looks a little bulky, but it looks stickerish, and I find that I really like that. So here is an example of color drop. So I am going to draw a heart, take the same color, and then I'm going to drop it right inside that heart, and I'll do the same thing for the other one. So you draw out your shape or whatever you would like a heart, and then you can choose, go back in, choose a different color, and then what you do is you hold your pen down on that color and just drag it over and then release the pen. And that is your color drop. Very simple, very easy to use, and it's very fun when it comes to illustration. So now I'm going to be showing you the panels on the top left-hand corner. This is your actions panel. It gives you all the options to insert a file, insert a photo, take a photo, add text, cut, copy, and then copy canvas. Very basic. The next one is going to be your canvas actions. This is, basic crop and resize, and it has this cool thing called animation assist. If you're looking to make things like animated GIFs, this is really fun, and I will do a separate tutorial on how to use that as well. The next thing is going to be your drawing guide. This is really good to have when you're doing anything that has precise lines. It's also very good for the use when you're lettering. And it also gives you the options to flip the canvas horizontally, vertically, or anything like that. And so those are those actions. And one of my favorite things on here is going to be the canvas information. And when you open that up, you go into it and it gives you kind of all the basics here. And my favorite thing is to go to the statistics tab, and you can actually see the total hours or the total amount of time that you've been working on this specific canvas. And I just love that feature because it lets you know how long you put into your work. Here's the share tab. This is kind of self-explanatory. If you want to share, it gives you the option of all of these JPEGs are on there, PNGs, PSDs. So anytime you want to share your image or your illustration, this is where you're going to go, and you're going to go ahead and share it the way that you want to. So now we're going to go up to the video tab, and my favorite thing here is the export time-lapse video. And what that does is it puts together a full illustration time-lapse, and it will basically show you from start to finish the process in creating your illustration that you're working on at that moment with that canvas. So I think this is a really cool feature, and I love seeing the process of anybody's work. It's really amazing. Here is going to be your preferences. This is just kind of the general, you don't really touch it. If you need to, if you have to, then you go ahead and obviously have your help tab. Here is your adjustments. So these are, again, pretty basic. You're going to go in and you have your opacity. So I'll go ahead and show you. You just draw anything, and this is just another way that you can edit opacity. Let's just say that you already have drawn a full illustration out. You're going to go ahead and click the opacity, and then you're just going to take your pen and you're going to swipe it left or right depending on where you're trying to have your opacity land, and that will change it up for you. The next thing is going to be your blur modes. They have Gaussian, they've got motion, and perspective blur. And I'll show you what Gaussian blur looks like. So I'm just going to draw some lines, and then I'm going to turn that on, and it kind of makes like a shadow effect, which is really cool. It kind of, obviously it's a blur motion, so that's what it wants to look like, and it's just really good for creating shadows. Let's say you draw a flower or something like that, you want a shadow behind it. You're just gonna basically make a copy of that specific layer and then turn on the Gaussian blur, and it'll have a shadow. And then it has hue, saturation, brightness, color balance, curves, and recolor. This is kind of a shapes tool. So a lot of people do wonder how shapes get onto your page or how you do it. This is the little tool. You go in, you create whatever shape that they have available to you, and then you're just going to go ahead and edit within that shape, which is a really awesome tool to have. And then lastly, you have your move tool. And so this is great for being able to draw something. Here I'm giving you my name as an example again, and then you just go ahead and you're able to click that button and move that specific layer anywhere on your canvas. And I find this really helpful, and that's why you honestly want to make sure that you're using different layers for just about everything, and you are able to go in and move that all over the canvas and place it wherever you need it to be. The last thing that I'm going to get into is the color palette options we have here in the upper right hand corner. This basically just lets you pick out your colors, and I love the different palette choices they have. They've got the disc, and then they have a few other options, and it's just really fun. It depends on the artist and what they want to look at basically, and what is pleasing to their eye. You can also create your own color palettes for your designs, and so I thought that was really awesome. You just go up to that plus sign and you add and create your own palette. So I hope this tutorial was helpful for some of you guys, and go ahead and like if you think it was, or comment and let me know anything that you would have included or not included, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.